So most everyone that has visited Tokyo or lives in Tokyo knows the area called Shinjuku, of course. It's very famous. It has a very vibrant nightlife. It's also famous for having the busiest train station in the world. Personally, I'm not a big fan of Shinjuku. I don't really like it because it is horrendously complicated. It's very difficult to navigate. And I'm not a terrible navigator. I have a decent sense of direction. I'm not super great, but I'm not bad either. I'm somewhere in the middle. And, with Google Maps and GPS and apps and all that stuff, you'd think that you could get around Shinjuku. But in the end, Shinjuku wins every time. This place beats me, hands down, every time. And if you're a great navigator and you want a challenge, I highly recommend Shinjuku. It'll definitely give you a run for your money. And the best way I can describe it for anyone who's never been there is it's like an Escher painting. You try to find the place you're looking for, but there are multiple levels. So it's not a two-dimensional thing, it's a three-dimensional thing. You find the place you're looking for, you think you're there, but then you realize you're not on the right level. You look up and you see like a staircase going down, but people are walking up it and they're like hanging upside down, and that's where you need to go. It's like an Escher painting. Another good way I can describe it is it's like the movie The Cube. Do you remember this movie? So you're progressing through this puzzle, but actually the puzzle is changing as you're trying to progress through it, so that it's so difficult that the normal human mind just cannot conquer this puzzle. Buildings have legs, and they're literally getting up and walking, and they're moving. The city is changing as you're trying to progress through it, as you're trying to find the place you're looking for. So you're looking for Building A, and Building A is literally getting up and walking. Or other Building A's are springing up. The thing is just changing. It's morphing. It's a living, breathing organism. Shinjuku is truly evil. So, and it's funny. I always dread when a friend of mine or someone says, "Hey, let's meet in Shinjuku, and let's meet at the Starbucks." I'm like, "Oh no, yeah, that's not gonna happen, man." Whenever I have to go there, let's say I have to meet at 6 p.m., I will literally get up at 5 a.m. and I will research it, I will Google Map it, I'll GPS, I'll have the app. I'll have so much research poured into finding wherever we're supposed to meet at to get there. And I have a funny story, actually two funny stories. One is a coworker wanted to meet me and another coworker, three of us, for lunch. And she said, "Hey, let's meet in Shinjuku." Like, oh no. And she said, "Let's meet at the Louis Vuitton store." I'm like, okay. Now, as you might know, I'm not the kind of person, look at this, I'm not the person that would know where the Louis Vuitton store is, right? However, I was thinking, oh, Louis Vuitton store, it's not Starbucks, so it shouldn't be that difficult to find. And I was in a good mood at the time, so I'm thinking, oh, let's take on this challenge. Let's try to get Shinjuku today. So I agree, and I find the Louis Vuitton store, all this research, blah, blah, blah. I show up, and I'm 10 minutes early. The other friend comes. She meets me. And I'm thinking, this is going to happen. I'm going to beat Shinjuku today, okay? Then the other friend doesn't show up, the one that originally said, let's meet at the Louis Vuitton store. We get a text. It says, "Where are you guys?" And we're like, we're at the Louis Vuitton store. And she said, "Oh, you must have gone to the other one." And that's Shinjuku, man. There's always another one. No matter what building or whatever you're looking for, there's always multiple versions of it. She went to another one. And apparently the one was the one she goes to. Who knew? And I was just about to just give up and say, you know what? I give up. No lunch today. Shinjuku wins once again today. And I was just going to go home. But the other friend, the other coworker said, "Hey, let's try to find the other one." And after significant navigational efforts, we did indeed find it. Mostly because of her, but we did indeed find it, and we did have lunch. So we were late, though. We were like 10 to 15 minutes late. So not too bad considering it's Shinjuku, but the hours I put in to actually research that, I'm a little disappointed because in the end, Shinjuku did actually kind of win in the end. So that kind of sucks. Another story is I had a job interview set up, and guess where? Shinjuku, of course. And the recruiter's telling me, okay, it's Shinjuku, and I'm like, oh no, I'm taking deep breaths. I'm like, okay. It was still a few days, so I had some time to research it, but I'm like, the stakes are higher. It's a job interview. So I'm like, okay, we got to do this. This is Shinjuku. She gives me the address. I research the hell out of it. I have all these maps laid out, exactly which exit I want to take. And I have this technique now I use to deal with Shinjuku, is I totally avoid Shinjuku Station. It is pandemonium in there. It is a mess. I mean, if you love pandemonium, you want to experience pandemonium, go to Shinjuku Station. It is chaos. You will be lost for hours. It is a maze. It'll drive you nuts. So anyways, my technique is to totally avoid Shinjuku Station. Even if the destination is right next to Shinjuku Station, I still avoid it. I cannot navigate that place. So what I do instead is I use the outer stations. There's several, like Shinjuku, Gyoenmai, Tochomai, Shinjuku, Sanchome, or whatever. And I use those instead. They're much smaller stations, and I can usually find the exits without any trouble. So luckily, the office that I was supposed to interview at was near one of the outer stations. So I find it, I find the address, and I show up 20-25 minutes early. I check the building, company name is there. I got 20 minutes. This is great. No problem. I go to a nearby cafe, kind of studying up for the interview. A text comes in. It's from the recruiter. She says, I'm so sorry I sent you the wrong address. Apparently there are 2 offices of this company. This company has 2 offices in Shinjuku. And I'm like, no way. How did this happen? I was so prepared. Shinjuku, man, it wins every time. So she sends me the correct address. I Google map it. Google Maps says 10-minute walk. I got 20 minutes. I can do this. So I'm total dork. I'm a total geek. I got the smartphone right in front of me, and it's like I'm scanning like a Star Trek tricorder, and I'm finding this building, and it's on right here, and I get to the building, and something's wrong. It's strange because I'm supposed to go to the 50th floor, 50, but this building only has 18 floors. Google Maps sent me to the wrong place. Even Google Maps was like, I don't know, it's Shinjuku, man. I mean, give me a break. I'm Google Maps, but, even I got limits. Shinjuku. I look at the building, and it's something like, I'm supposed to go to Mitsui Building. And this one says Mitsui Building number 2. I'm supposed to go to number 1. Now, you'd think that number 1 is right next to number 2. But no, this is Shinjuku. Totally like somewhere else in Shinjuku. So I Apple map it. I don't know why I wasted my time with this. I Apple map it, and Apple Maps literally says, oh, don't even bother with me. I have no clue. So I go back to Google Maps, and I end up typing in the entire address manually, and that finally gets it on track. Okay? Copying and pasting for some reason did not work. I type it in manually, and it gets me, hopefully, to the right building. Now, I got something like 5 minutes to go at this point until the interview start time. Recruiter calls me. What's going on? I'm freaking out because I am literally like running, sprinting to this other building. This is not the best way to start a job interview, to go to a job interview. I'm sprinting, and I am so flustered and freaking out. I was literally considering just going home. So you know what? Shinjuku wins again. I don't want to work here. I give up. I can't make the job interview because I just can't find this place. And I was so close to just totally canceling the interview. And I remember that I was on the phone with the recruiter, like, how could you do this to me? Shinjuku wins every time, man. It's always Shinjuku. It kicks my ass. And I'm totally freaking out. And she must have been like, what the hell's wrong with this dude? I was totally flustered and freaking out. Fortunately, the recruiter says, don't worry, I called the company. I sent you the wrong address. I take full responsibility. So just get there as soon as you can. Okay, I finally find the building. I get there. 10 minutes late. Not bad, once again, considering it was Shinjuku. So they forgave me. Recruiter took the blame. Thank God. But, man, it's a challenge. If you want a navigational challenge, Shinjuku's your place. And a funny side note to that story is there was a second interview. And you'd think I would have been able to get to the building no problem the second time, because I knew the address and I researched the exact train exit and all that. But I got out of the train exit and I was on the wrong level. Like, I see the building up there. Like, how the hell? That's the building. I recognized it, but I had no clue how the hell to get up there. So I eventually found a stairwell, and I got there, and the only way I found it was just because I remembered what the building looked like. But I swear to God, those buildings were getting up and walking away from me. The puzzle was changing. So I'm just telling you, if you're one of those, like, let's do it, I never get lost type of people, Shinjuku's your place. If you're like me and you have a so-so to bad sense of direction, then dude, stay away from Shinjuku. You have been warned.